Welcome to Satsang. So I've been out and about and what I keep noticing is that people are closed. They're defended, they're frightened. And my understanding of that is that if you're defended and closed, you're out of touch with your heart, which is a shame. Because from my perspective, it's the only thing that's valuable here. So I tune into people because I can feel people who are open. People who are open feel like little kids. If you tune into a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, they're open. They haven't closed up yet. They may close every now and again if something doesn't go their way, but generally speaking, they're open. And someone who's open feels like that. Now, if you're open, you can feel it. If you're not open, you can't. Most people don't know they're closed. They don't know they're defended because they're too unconscious to realize it. And it's been too long. And so I was out last night and I was out today and I was just running into one person after the next. A lot of them were friendly, but friendliness isn't openness. Friendliness is a way of meeting the world. Openness is a very different quality. When someone's fully open, it's like you can fall into them. Most people you bounce off. You bounce off their defense systems because they're producing them constantly, whether they realize that or not. So this makes looking at the world a bit of a sad affair, realizing that humans, generally speaking, aren't very open, which means they're out of touch with their hearts, which means they're out of touch with happiness. And so they keep themselves busy, projecting to the future that somehow things will get better one day. But they never will. Because unless you open up, nothing changes. People are on railway tracks. They stay the same until they die, unless they start to open. And for me, that started to happen when I was 19, when I did my first encounter group. Something opened in me and a change began. And so it was outside intervention that generated a change. But when I examined that more closely, it was my effort that generated the change, not what had happened in the group. Nobody can do the work for you. You can't collect knowledge and think that somehow that's going to open you either. We are so used to being able to go out and buy whatever we want with money. People have given up on the idea of working. It takes quite a lot of effort to open up and take down defenses if you're a closed human being. And most human beings I meet are closed. Friendly enough, but closed. You all have an opportunity because you're hearing something that most people don't ever hear. They don't hear about defendedness. They don't hear about closure. They don't hear about the difference. I did start to hear about it when I was 19, when I was introduced to the idea of victim-orientated thinking. Massive closure. All victim-orientated thinking is closure. Depending on how much energy you put into it as to how closed you actually are. And so for a long time now, I've been talking and saying that openness counts for everything, because in my understanding it does. But if you really want to go higher in consciousness, if you really want to find heart, you have to practice openness. Agreeing with me is not enough. Thinking what I'm saying is a good idea is not enough. I can't keep you open. I can temporarily help you open with the energy field here, but I can't keep you open. Only you can do that. Only you can rescue you. Nobody else can. There aren't any saviors out there. If you ever run into one, run. Only you can save you. Only you can help you produce a mind that will support higher consciousness, that will support heart, that will support enlightenment. Nobody else can do it for you. Now, I can point to how to do it because I did it for myself. And I can show you the obstacles that are in the way because I removed them in myself. And if you sit in my presence, the Buddha field will start to dissolve you to some degree. But you still have to do the work. And this is where I feel, in the examination of it, that 99.999% of Osho sannyasins failed. Every single one of them had the chance to become enlightened, the chance to find heart, the chance to raise their consciousness levels because they were in the presence of a spiritual master. But not many did. People don't want to do the work. They want it to happen by itself. Your defense systems are a result of your upbringing, which you can't help. That just is what happened to you. Your higher consciousness, you have control over. You can't change your upbringing. You can't change what's happened to you. But you can change what's going to happen to you with the practice of openness. So every time something contracts you, every time you find any form of resistance in you, instead of seeing it as a bloody problem, use it to undo you. Which is what I did. People are looking for a shortcut. They want an easy way. If there was one, I would have found it. There isn't one. Anyone who's offering an easy way is conning you, and there'll be money involved. There is no easy way. If you practice what I teach, you will raise your consciousness levels. You'll start finding your heart. You put yourself in the right space for enlightenment, but only if you practice what I teach. That was the thing that I did. I practiced what my teachers taught. I didn't just collect knowledge. I just didn't think it was just good ideas. I practiced what they taught. But I also did that in business. That's why I was probably very successful in business as well, because I practiced what I was taught. I didn't arrogantly think that I knew how to do it by myself. Because I knew that human beings are lost in a jungle of their own mind. And if you're lost in a jungle, the best way to get out is to get a guide, not to arrogantly think you can get yourself out. And so I've had guides my whole life. And that worked. You have chosen me as your guide. But unless you're practicing what I teach, it won't help you much. And if you really thoroughly examine what I teach, it's identical to what Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh was teaching. It's identical to what Gautama the Buddha was teaching. It's the same stuff.